Fucking right, boys. 2-1 Bruins, 3-0 series lead. Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Final goes to Boston in Carolina. The first time Carolina's lost at home this playoffs. What a game. To start, I know everybody was probably panicking the first 10-15 minutes of the game, hell, even the first period. But you knew this was coming. Their backs are against the wall. They have to win at home. They have to win every game now. But you knew this was coming. They had the surge. We had to weather the storm. We knew we had to do that. And we did. It wasn't pretty. It sure as hell wasn't pretty. I knew the zone time Carolina was getting, the shots they were getting, the quality scoring chances they were getting. To be honest, I thought we were going to be down after the first. But our brick wall, Tuukka Rask, which I'll get into later, just shut the door today. Wow. I mean, anyways, I'll get to that later because I have a lot to say on Tuukka. The first thing I got to say, that fourth line with Nordstrom, Wags, and what the fuck? Corrali, yeah. Nordstrom, Wags, and Corrali. That is the Merlot line Junior. All three of them, fantastic game. The last couple games, this line tonight was the best line, and to me, it wasn't even close. They were the reason we got on the board 1-0 in the second. Nice play by Corrali, gives it to Nordstrom. Nordstrom, right down the middle, just pins the needle right to Wagner, and he taps it in. 1-0 Bruins. And I think that's really when things started turning for Boston. That's when it's like, oh fuck, here we go. That was early. That was a minute and a half into the second period. So obviously, Coach Cassidy said some swear words in the dressing room, or maybe he said nothing. I don't know, but whatever, it worked. 1-0 Bruins. Later on in the period, Marchand, probably about 5 minutes later. I think it was 5 minutes later. On the power play from Krejci and McAvoy. And this is one that I think McElhinney could have stopped, but I don't blame him for it because it deflected off their defender's glove. But we'll take him any way we can get him. Interesting play. It was on the power play, but the goal was off the rush, which is nice to see actually. Because Marchand saw the opportunity there. Instead of slowing it down, he took the opportunity, and obviously it worked. Not a high percentage shot, though, of a backhand from the slot, but he's a smart guy. It went through. It worked. 2-0 Boston. Calvin DeHaan would add one later in the period, which Rask should have had. I don't think anybody's saying otherwise. He was, his pad, if you watch the replay, his pad was there. It went right under his pad. There wasn't a hole. But his stick wasn't on the ice between his legs, and the momentum from the puck just carried the puck right through his pads. 2-1, second period. Third period, no scoring. Yeah, so the second period was a lot better, but that first period was Carolina's best, and I think that's a positive for Boston, is that we got Carolina's best. I think they blew their load in the first period, and you're going to see a lot of that next game with their backs against the wall. But that was Carolina's best hockey. And it wasn't pretty, but we weathered the storm. But it sure as hell was not pretty. 20 plus shots in the first period. You can't have that. That's on pace for 60 shots in a game. You can't have that. And they obviously tightened up because Carolina finished with 36 shots on goal. 20-6 in the first period were the shots on goal. Okay, that was forgettable. Anyways, Tuukka, I mean, what more can you say about him? He's just playing confident right now. He's just straight up confident. And I was one of those people, I hate to admit it, that doubted Tuukka at points. I didn't think he could play in big games. He seemed to make saves that he has no business making, but he would also let in squeakers too much, and it would always seem to be at the most inopportune time, and that's why I love Rask. I have his poster in my man cave here. But sometimes it's just hard to see. I mean, how consistent he is. And it's mostly big games. He's always teeter-tottering, whether he's going to be on his game or off his game. But the last series and a half, I mean, even against Toronto, this guy's been on, and it's showing. He's got so much confidence. Even when he doesn't know where the puck is, he's still making the save. And that's just, when you're hot, and he's in the right position, the puck's gonna hit you. The NBC broadcast here, they were showing replays in slow motion of some of his saves, and his eyes are straight ahead, and the puck's just hitting him in the chest and the pad and the glove. The one went right into his glove. And that's just good positioning. And that is why Tuukka is my early vote for Conn Smythe if the Boston Bruins win the cup. But I'm not going to get ahead of myself here. Another thing I learned today is Justin Williams is fucked. I mean, what the fuck is that guy on? He's supposed to be the captain. And especially knowing, and it's been highly broadcasted, that Carolina special teams compared to Boston special teams is like night and day. Carolina's been struggling to score on the power play, and they've been struggling to stop Boston's power play. And if you're Justin Williams and you have that C on your chest, as Marchand reminded him, and everybody else, he's got the C on his chest, you can't take penalties. And he said that in the interview before this game, and he owned up to it last game that he snapped. And he ended up getting 3 penalties in the first period. And that's not even counting the tack on David Backes on the first non-goal. Literally, Backes crouched over on the ice, and he comes over and punches him, I think, 2 or 3 times in the back of the head. And that was missed, but whatever. Anyways, this guy's in the box 3 times in the first period. That's not a recipe for success. And even though he says he's changed, could you imagine if that was Brad Marchand? Could you imagine? People would be calling player safety from their own cell phones, having Marchand suspended for eternity if he did anything Justin Williams did in that first period. It's bonkers, man. I don't know. Dougie Hamilton's another guy. I can't even, he's one of those guys, I can't even look at his fucking face. It's one of those things where his face gets shown on TV and I want to throw my couch through my TV. That's how much I can't even stand Dougie Hamilton. And you could tell how bad he wanted to score a goal against Boston. He was the first, I think it was the second power play. He was shooting from anywhere. It was a 5-on-3, I believe. And instead of working it around or even moving in, he just wired a slap shot right in Tuukka's chest. And even the announcers are like, what's he doing? Like, it's a 5-on-3. You can't be having those low percentage shots. And then later on the power play, he did the same thing twice. I think he missed the net, though. I love it. I personally love it. I'm glad we got rid of him. I'm glad he's not on our side. He's also a liability on defense, and he's just like Justin Williams. He could snap at any time, and as we learned last game, and cost your team with stupid penalties. So, stick tap for you, Dougie. Keep it up. My next point, what the fuck is goalie interference? Like, honestly, what is goalie interference? Like, DeBrusk made contact with him early, but by the time the puck was even shot, fucking McElhinney was in the high slot. I thought he was a fucking defenseman. If it's outside the blue paint, that's DeBrusk's ice. That is DeBrusk's ice. And that should be a goal. And that's my own opinion. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, but that's the way I see it. That's the way I've always seen it. The goalies are so protected in their blue paint. You even blow on them in the blue paint and you get a penalty. But anything outside that blue paint is a danger zone for goalies. And if you're going out there, you're going to get hit. It's just as simple as that. There's guys jostling in front of the net. You leave your blue paint, you're going to have contact. And I didn't agree with that call. I really didn't. But it's another one of those. I probably reacted to that the same way I reacted to the puck hitting the netting against Columbus and then them scoring seconds later. I was pissed off, but I'm like, what's done is done. We got to move on. Both times, it didn't make a difference. Boston won this game. That's all that matters. And another thing I'm actually really concerned about that I just thought of is later in the game, a couple minutes left, Chris Wagner blocks a shot with his wrist. And as a hockey player, I know how much padding is where he got hit, and it's not a lot. And it was a hard shot too. Falk definitely connected on it. It was not a flutter puck. He didn't fan on it. It was a hard shot, and it went right in his wrist, and you could see him wincing in pain right after, going right to the bench. He ended up going in the locker room. Obviously, it was the end of the game, so it's hard to tell if he would have came back. But I'm really hoping that it's just a bruise or nothing's broken or anything like that, because he's such a critical part to this fourth line that was the best line tonight. And so we'll find out more about that, I'm sure, tomorrow, if Cassidy even decides to mention anything, if he even says anything at all, if he's back in the lineup. I know Noel Acciari was ready to go tonight, but you don't change what's working. So he sat out, but still losing Wags would be a tough blow to the fourth line. So I really hope he's all right. All the best to him. And like I said earlier in the podcast, this was Carolina's best hockey. Their backs were against the wall. They left everything on the ice. This was Carolina's best, and it showed early on, but we still got the win 2-1, and that's a positive thing for me. We weathered their storm in their home ice where they haven't lost one game this playoffs, and we come out with a win. That's the definition of a greasy road win. And we'll take it because we're up 3-0 in the series. Curtis McElhinney, he was all right. It was hard. He wasn't tested early because of how good Carolina was playing and all the zone time they were getting. He wasn't tested very early, but in the second, I can't really blame him for any of the goals. The second goal obviously going off his own guy. I think for what he did his part. I think he did his part, and Carolina just needed to put more goals in on Rask, and obviously that's not an easy task. But for me, McElhinney did his part. I think it's a clear-cut decision he's starting next game, and that shouldn't be worrisome for the Bruins at all. We got to get more shots on him. We faced, in my opinion, Freddie Anderson and Bobrovsky are elite goalies. They're easily top 10. Bobrovsky, I'd put at top 5 goalies in the league. So we beat those two, and then now you're facing the duo of Peter Mrazek and Curtis McElhinney. Crickets. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think we should have a problem with McElhinney. He's bound to give up a couple. I'm still hoping they put Mrazek in next game. It'll never happen, but wishful thinking. Anyways, that's all I got to say. The refereeing, in the first period, I thought, here we go again. I thought this was deja vu. And some of the penalties, they're Mickey Mouse calls. And that's the best way to put it. They're Mickey Mouse calls. Torrey Krug got a penalty for doing nothing, for getting fucking face wash. He was getting face wash in front of his own goalie, and he got a roughing penalty. Coyle and Niederreiter went off, and Krug got the extra for whatever reason, and I don't know. They tightened up near the end of the game, but man, it's always a toss-up with these officials. Like, it's either a very good game, they've reffed a very good game, or it's fucking atrocious. And there's like no in between. And today started out atrocious, but ended pretty good. I don't really have too many complaints. I don't think Boston scored on the power play, but what else is new? Because Carolina's penalty kill is fucking hot garbage. Anyways, it's 3-0. I'm very happy right now. I'm tired as hell, but I can go to sleep knowing my Bruins are up 3-0, going for the sweep. When is it? Thursday? Yeah, Thursday night, going for the sweep in Carolina. Let's fucking go. Bruins beat. This is Matt. See you later.